There's a lot of words out there, and I feel like people know what most of them mean at this point. But do we know what they sound like or what they feel like? I always wondered if a word could make you think of music or make you think of a certain style of music. Does it invoke the same emotion the way that music would? So today we're going to test that theory. Welcome to CHUNE Challenges. So yeah, we're back with another CHUNE challenge. This is actually the second one that we're doing. So if you missed the first one, you can click it right there. In that one, we remixed and reimagined some classic Acrellux songs. But I think this one will feel a little more in line with what I expected these to be. And hopefully you feel that way too. So this is the Words into Music challenge, where I gave the participants a random word and they were tasked with turning that word into music. What does that word sound like? What does that word feel like? We're about to find out. So each participant was given a random word that I came up with. They had 2 weeks to turn that word into a song, and now we are gonna go through those submissions. From those submissions, I will then determine a top 10, and then I will bring in a guest judge near the end to help me discuss and determine the winner based on those finalists. Each submission will be judged based on how well they capture the essence of their given word in the music, as well as just the overall quality and creativity of their track. Before we get started, if you are a producer and want to participate in future challenges, be sure to join the Discord. That is where they are announced and hosted. So we have 24 submissions to get through, and we're just gonna go through them in the order that they were submitted. The first word is drown by Figment. Figment said, "Hey, I'm Figment, an experienced listener just starting out in the realm of producing. The word I was given was drown, and so my thought process for making such a song was to have the primary instruments sound like they're underwater. But also, I gotta make the whole track calm and sad because you're about to die, basically. The main sample I've used is Drowning by A Boogie with the Hoodie, a good hit rap song from 2019. But that piano sample used throughout the song was something I felt was going to be very fitting to incorporate into the track. There's not much on my SoundCloud right now other than low quality mashups, but I plan on putting an EP out sometime over the summer. The lead single Liftoff has already been made and will be the lead single once the entire EP is complete." Okay, I assume this is the sample he was referring to. It is fitting. You gotta have to have this sadness to it. This, oh, okay. A little water droplet sound. Yeah, I like how it's all a little muffled. You know, you sound like you're underwater. I like the little extra bubbles and watery sounds in here. Those first notes, doot-dat, doot-dat, sounded like the Sonic, when Sonic's about to drown. I could go pretty hard on this beat, I'm not gonna lie. The piano does really fit well, because it's got this dreary tonality to it. Ooh. And now, I am out of air. I am actually drowning now.
I am under the water, please help me.
Honestly, not bad at all, Figment. I'm really impressed. I mean, obviously a big chunk of the core sound there is a sample. I'm not sure if you manipulated it in any way. I'm not familiar with the original song, but regardless, the full package came together pretty nicely. Every decision you made with the sounds in there definitely helped aid in that feeling of drowning. Everything's muffled. You got the extra sounds of water in there, and just the overall tonality of the synths and the piano sample do feel very sad, very dreary, very like my life is about to end due to lack of oxygen in the water. Next, we will move on to Victory by Missiony. I'm expecting something triumphant, like I just accomplished something. Actually, I have to turn things up. It's a little quiet. Pretty good melody. Let's go. We've done it. Okay. It's interesting quality kick. I believe you said you made all these kicks, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody said that. I'm pretty sure it was you. Good sub. Obviously, we know the genre being showcased here is not my cup of tea, but we're judging it objectively here. I think the production of the intro and this bridge here are well done. It's a good build-up as well. I went through some trials, some tribulations, and I accomplished my goal. If this feels like the celebration music, then we've done it, boys. Second drop, final drop, let's go. I like the way the vocals are manipulated there. Okay, more traditional kick. I think this sounds better. It's more up my alley, I should say. Like I said, obviously the genre isn't my thing, but I think it's still produced well, and I think it does fit Victory. I think the melody has a triumphant feel, and I feel that the upbeat nature of hardstyle definitely lends itself to feeling triumphant. It gives you a sense of accomplishment for sure. I think the vocals, the vocal samples in here fit well with the song itself. I think it feels cohesive with the song, but I don't know if the Fly Away With Me fits the vibe of Victory, of being victorious. I support what you did, but for Victory, it has some issues. But the melody, I think, was very in line with what I was expecting. So next we have Regret by ALCH. Hey, I am ALCH, short for my full name, Alex Christensen. My word was regret, and I knew I wanted to use the instrument tension in Ableton in some way, used in the drop, and some acoustic elements. My process was to make something that builds and builds to something big and has the emotion to convey my word, regret. I really only make music on Mondays as it's my day off, so I rarely finish stuff and just make stuff for fun. Hope you enjoy the track. Oh. There's the acoustic elements. And another one that has this kind of sad tone. Wow. Beautiful. It's so interesting to listen to a song with a specific word in mind. It like elevates the music. It's so cool. Oh. Interesting choice of instrument. Ooh, this is beautiful. Here, yeah, just builds and builds and builds. Here we go. Oh. Wow. Why is everyone so talented? Yeah, this is really good. This is really good. Oh, what was that? Yeah, I think the acoustic elements definitely just add to the sense of regret. Like I can imagine someone just, you know, singing about their problems, singing about the mistakes they've made while playing their guitar, and just really reminiscing and feeling that sense of regret, that sense of I made a mistake. And then also that sort of cathartic release that you get when you accept like, I messed up and like what could have been, that sense of just dwelling on the past and thinking about, damn, if only I did do that or I didn't do that or, you know, whatever the regret is. I think it's very fitting and just a beautiful song. Damn, I feel like we're only 3 in. This is going to be very hard to narrow down. Oh man. Okay. Next up is Insect by Acrellux.
Hello, I'm Acrellux, and I basically make Riddim or lo-fi. I know, they're pretty different from each other, but today my word was insect. So I tried to replicate the feeling of maybe being in a dungeon with an insect monster crawling around you. I also experimented with time signatures because I felt like the pattern of motion for an insect is kind of all over the place, so I wanted it to kind of match that feeling. And yeah, if you want to follow after listening, then I'm Acrellux basically everywhere, so that's where you can find me. Hope that you enjoy.
I like the use of music. That felt really official. I'm trying to put myself into that mindset. I'm in a dungeon or something and there's a giant insect coming after me. I do like all the little weird noises. Insect. It is a little squirmy. Oh, yeah. This is cool. It feels like there's more than one kind of insect, for sure. I feel a little uncomfortable. And yeah, it does have a weird flow, a strange time signature to it. I think everything that you noted definitely adds to that insect flavor. The weird flow of it, the weird time signature of it makes it feel a little something squirming around, because insects are just unpredictable. They're quick and they're weird and they change directions too fast and they've got too many moving parts. Ugh. And I like how everything has this, like I said, squirminess or like a rattly nature, or just that like little legs running across the floor, little skittering around. It's a very skittery track, you know what I mean? Next, we have Childhood by Noiziatrics.
Hey, what's up? My name's Noiziatrics. I'm a producer, visual artist, video editor. So anyway, my word was childhood, which I was like, oh my god, what the hell am I going to interpret from this? But then I'm just like, well, what if I go back to the music I listened to in my childhood? But then I realized, oh no, I listened to completely f***ed up shit in high school. One of my favorite artists back then was named Frankentech, and he makes hardcore speedcore at like 300 BPM and with horror influences, so it's kinda shit, but I made something like that. Enjoy.
Oh boy. I'm very curious how you stumbled into that as a child. If this was my childhood, I would have turned into a much different person. That's all I'm saying. I feel like I'm getting shot at. I like the sound of this kick, or whatever you want to call it, though. I think this melody could have been something a little different, though. Change it up a little more. Or a different synth. It feels odd in the mix. Like I said, I had an issue with the main melody there. It felt a little repetitive, and the synth felt a little amateurish. I felt like it could have been changed, but it has some energy. It's quick. It's upbeat. However, I will say it probably sounds like your childhood, given the type of music you listened to growing up, but I don't know if it captures the essence of the word itself. It resonates with your specific childhood, which makes perfect sense, but I don't think if the general populace, the general population thought of the word childhood and what it would sound like, that probably wouldn't come to mind first. But a cool song, and I really appreciate the submission. You might want to talk to somebody about your childhood. Next up is Rebirth by Unknown Anomaly. My name is Justin, and I am a synthwave/cyberpunk music producer from Texas. I was given the word Rebirth. I'm a huge gamer and sci-fi nerd, so literally the first thing to pop into my mind was Mass Effect 3. So my track is utilizing parts of Commander Shepard's monologue after being reborn as the Reaper Intelligence. I also had endless loops of Mass Effect space battles on my other monitor to try and get the vibe and theme down to fit in Mass Effect. Hope you enjoy, and thanks for the challenge. It was a fun one. Oh yeah, it does give me that cyberpunky energy right off the bat. The neon lights cruising down the galaxy, the Milky Way. It's got a very specific aesthetic that when I'm in that mood, I vibe out, baby. I think this sample from Mass Effect, it doesn't feel like it's really part of the music. It doesn't feel like it's like on the beat. It's just kind of thrown in there.
But only now do I truly understand.
Okay, that last line, that fit well. That was good. It makes me think somewhat of Blade Runner. It makes me think of Blade Runner. If someone wants to take me in their spaceship and fly me around for a bit, I'd put this on. I've got a board game over there called Space Base. This seems like the perfect song to throw on while I'm playing Space Base. I love the tone of it. It does feel like some good cyberpunky, cybernetic, spacey music. However, none of those were the word that you received. So given the context of the game, how you described it, I'm sure it fits a little more. I've played Mass Effect, so I can't relate to that specific seen in the game. So based off where my mind goes, it doesn't make me think of Rebirth, although it could make me think of some sort of scientific experiment, like it's in a lab and maybe someone had passed away and they've brought them to the lab and somehow bring them back to life, and now they're all like cybernetically enhanced, like a RoboCop situation or something. They're just blown to pieces and they brought to the lab and they've got all these chemicals pumping into them and they're being reconstructed robotically, and this is the music playing during the sequence of like putting them back together, and then they finally come out and they're all, you know, alive again. It does kind of fit that scenario. So it's like Rebirth, but like a cybernetic rebirth. But I think it could still work given the right context. But a well-made song either way. Next up is Rainforest by Eskvy.
Yo, I'm Eskvy. I do a lot of stuff, so here's a list. My word was Rainforest, and for this track I wanted to encapsulate the feeling of exploring a forest both during the day and night. I did various forest-like things in my song, like this forest ambience here, as well as adding in bird chirps in the background of the flow. And I also did sample Windows Longhorn startup sound, and this is in reference to where they promised to buy $2 million worth of carbon credits to help restore the Amazon rainforest and stuff. If you like the sound and style of the song, I have an AB I'm working on that's in this now, so stay tuned for that. Support me by following me on my socials and visiting svy.com, buy my sample packs and download my patch of plugins at svy.com/store, and for you Chezzy, that's a surprise at svy.com/tunage. Thank you, keep in touch, and I hope you enjoy or enjoyed the tune.
What do you mean there's a surprise for me? Okay, well, I'll check that out after your song. And all the samples that we're showing off are definitely going to help.
As we all know, forests, especially tropical rainforests, are being destroyed at a terrifying rate.
Ooh. I like the way that brings you in, and the birds in the background. Well, thank you, Eskvy. Well, thank you, Eskvy. Hey, that's me. I recognize my voice.
Healthy ecosystems.
Hey. Cool samples. I like the synth sound a little kind of color basey, like a little watery, which Rainforest gives me, you know, rain, water, wet, fluid vibes. So, well produced though.
Healthy ecosystems.
Cool flow. It's really unique. I love the layers. It sounds very full. I like that little... Again, just the movement of everything, the style of the synths, I think work well for this word. If it was really harsh, saw wavy synths, real gritty stuff, that's not what comes to mind. So I think that suits the track quite well. Obviously, any use of samples really elevated the track. Honestly, I feel like there could have been even more incorporated, but it is quite peaceful. It feels like you're just sort of relaxing in a rainforest while the rain comes down, just sort of enjoying the greenery around you, the foliage. I would probably put this on at the Rainforest Cafe. I think that would be pretty nice. I'd eat my little dino chicken nuggets while the gorillas are going crazy in the background, and this song would just really seal the deal. But now I'm very curious. Eskvy.com/tunage. Hi, Chezzy. You're awesome. That's about it. Also, a huge thank you for the support on not only my songs, but a lot of other underground artists' songs too. Also, these tags are great. Thank you, LMAO. Music! Psst, you, the viewers, and anyone that sees this can get 35% off any sample pack at eskvy.com/store using code CHUNEAGE35. First 35 people. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. And you've got a lot of options here. Go support Eskvy. Go buy some sample packs. Support these artists, darn it. And you know what? Support me too. Supporting me helps support the artists as well. Help me fund more competitions to give back to all these great, talented underground producers. Next we have Hero by Marvin.
I'm Marvin and I'm from Germany. For this challenge I got the word hero. I created a hardstyle track where you, the crowd, are the hero. Every kick was made completely from scratch. It took a few days, but I'm super proud of how it turned out. Really, it's loud, it's powerful, and it's full of energy. It will definitely break your speakers, so enjoy the track. And also follow me on YouTube. My name is Marvstyle, and I have a second channel, LP Marvin 99. They speak of heroes, but we know the truth.
Okay. Let's see if I feel like a hero after this. I like how victory and hero, they kind of go hand in hand in terms of words, and they're both hardstyle related. Coincidence? Interesting kick. It sounds like a gulp, like a real squeaky gulp. What is happening? I can't hear what you're saying. What? There's some very creative production here. I gotta be honest. My major issue is definitely the mixing. There's a grittiness, the weird, that sounded like a lawnmower. That sounded like Waters of Nazareth by Justice for a moment there. It's very dirty, very distorted. It's almost too distorted. Everything is... Well, I don't understand. I don't understand. So clearly the most obvious glaring issue is a mixing problem. The mixing, the mastering, everything is super muddy. Everything clashes with itself. When a kick hits, it drowns everything else out. The volume of everything else dips because it gets swallowed by the kick and then it comes back up. There's also almost no transitions. Everything just kind of happens. There's some whiplash in that song. Things just kind of do. They just do. They already are. They don't become, they don't start, they just are. They always have been. There's some cool sound design in there. It's just because it's so muffled and muddy, it's hard to appreciate it. Get everything sounding a little cleaner. You don't need to crank everything up for me to hear it. Like, it's okay to turn things down, have things balanced. I think you need to EQ a lot of your stuff because there's so many frequencies that are meshing with each other and everything is clearly peaking or being completely compressed or limited in some way. And it's really messing up the dynamics of your song. But I like the energy of it. I think there was some cool sound design in there, even if it was hard to pick it out at times. And there was a small moment that sounded like a Justice song. So we'll take that. It almost feels more like a villain, the villain soundtrack, like who the hero would need to defeat. But it was really creative. Next, we have Marshmellow by Azure Spark. Hello, I'm Azure Spark. Thank you, Chezzy, for making these challenges, as I love to put my production skills to the test to learn more and becoming better. I've come back to music after a long hiatus and releasing stuff, so it would be awesome to support me on my SoundCloud. But that's about it. So I hope you enjoy my submission. Please let me know if it's funnily stupid. So we can go in two directions with this. We can either make something fluffy and cute, like an actual marshmallow, or we can do something like the other marshmallow. You know, the marshmallow. Okay, yeah, we're going marshmallow. Marshmallow. But it does have a cutesy energy to it. I like the way the vocals are being used, the vocal chops. It's putting a smile on my face. I'm enjoying it. Oh. Hey. Okay. That's funny that you were kind of hinting that you might go this way with the song, but I'm actually glad that you did. That's funny. Because that feels like very early Marshmellow, like Alone and stuff, like the really early Marshmellow when he was first blowing up kind of music, which I do actually feel like lends itself to the word marshmallow as well, the correctly spelled Marshmellow. So not only does it capture Marshmellow the producer, it also captures Marshmellow the song because it is kind of squishy and happy. So I think you definitely nailed the word. And I don't mind early Marshmellow. It's obviously not groundbreaking or just an absolute tune, but they were fun songs. They were catchy tunes. And I think this is pretty catchy and lighthearted. I think it's a fun time. I think it's a very entertaining song. I'm gonna need the lyrics though. If you could provide me the lyrics, that would be great. Next is Danger by XP. Hello, I'm XP. I like to pronounce it like XP, FYI. I made some high-tech psytrance because it is my favorite recreational anxiety inducer. However, I decided to betray the genre and make something shorter than 15 minutes for obvious reasons. Enjoy. Okay, got the siren. Definitely some dangerous noises in here. Yeah. The usage of the siren. I don't think I've ever heard someone like chop it up that way. That's kind of cool. If your word was anxiety, this would 100% be on brand, but danger is only slightly off from anxiety. If you have anxiety, that could lead to some danger. Really interesting, really weird. This does sound a little dangerous. I wouldn't advise you to go near it. I would keep small children away from this song. There's probably a choking hazard. If you're pregnant, I would avert your ears. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, if you've listened to this song, you're probably entitled to some sort of compensation. I honestly really liked how the siren was incorporated. It seemed kind of like a gimmick at first, but then it started to grow on me. Then it started to really work, especially because the word is danger after all. Like I did feel like there's some danger happening, approaching on the horizon, or I'm escaping from it. Danger did cross my brain. So I think it's accurately portrayed. You captured the essence of danger. This is another genre I don't really listen to. I'm not super familiar with it, but there wasn't a ton of diversity, I guess, but I still found myself enjoying it. I still found myself feeling a little anxious. And so I feel like you still captured the word quite well. Next we have Colossal by Rayne. What's up? I'm Rayne and I make a lot of different types of music, from dubstep to orchestral music. I'm 20 years old and I've been producing for about 6 years now, though I still definitely have a lot to improve on. I have a new lo-fi beat coming out on the 16th, and I'm working on a new album that'll hopefully be out next month. Hope you enjoy the tunes. Yeah, okay. Okay, a choir? Something about a choir, the grandness of a choir does fit. Colossal. I also just watched Pacific Rim for the first time recently, so that's pretty colossal. Clean build so far. The percussion fits quite well with the chorus. I felt like it would be butting heads with it more, but it's mixed in there pretty well. Yeah, good build. Hey. Oh. Interesting. Not the drop I was expecting, not the rhythm I was expecting. But it feels more large, stompy. That was creative. That caught me off guard in a good way. Cool. I love the little glitching pieces in there before the drops and the fills. Yeah, that's cool. I feel the stompy nature of it definitely feels big, does feel colossal. And then again, the choir definitely feels grand. My only complaint with the actual production is I feel like the kicks during the drop, they feel stompy, but they don't have that like that upper register like kick, that extra punch to them. Not that it needs that, but personally, I feel it could have elevated it a little bit, made it feel a little more stompy and grand and chaotic. But I like the flow of it. I love the build. I think the build is very well done, and I think the fake out into the drops is really well done. I genuinely enjoyed that. Next, we have Emergency by Lugaesch. The song is based on an older ID, which I then reworked. It just fit the word very well, especially the intro. Other than that, there's not much else to say. I'm currently working on an EP that should be finished later this month and will be released next month. Okay, I get what you're saying about the intro. Oh. Yeah? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're on brand with the word for sure. Oh, wah, 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 wah. I like that. It's like when you wave like a piece of metal, a sheet metal, and goes whoa, 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 whoa. I like that sound. All right, here we go. Hey! Damn! Cool. I like the snare, it's slapping. Pah! Oh, well, I changed up the flow right when I tried to imitate it, but I want to see the bridge though. Obviously the intro felt very emergency-y, but I need a little more of that emergency energy. Yeah, because this also gives me anxiety. It feels like something's happening. I mean, I think dubstep, just as a genre, makes an emergency occur. Hey. This is a really cool song, regardless of the word. This is a cool song. And this last little drop here, it's starting to lose its effect on me by the end. Just as a song, I really enjoyed that. I was vibing, I was jamming. I do think the intro definitely is the most relevant to the word, but I do feel dubstep inherently has an emergency quality to it. It feels like some sort of cataclysmic event or something devastating just happened, or monsters are starting to terrorize the town, or, it gives off the sense that something bad is happening. So I think just inherently the genre is an emergency. So I feel like it captured it pretty well, and that intro especially sets the tone for the rest of the track. So pretty solid stuff. Next we have Power by Gwap Music. Hi, I'm Alex, and I run the Gwap Music project. My word was power, and I decided to go with a heavy orchestral type dubstep tune. Even though I don't make heavy music that often, this was really fun. I managed to blend my sound design with the word pretty well, I think. The song was made in 4 days with occasional breaks in between production. Anyways, if you like what you hear, or if you're interested, check out my SoundCloud and subscribe to my YouTube. There's a lot of exciting music that's coming out this year, so I'd appreciate if you check some of it out. Ooh, pretty ominous. It's interesting to see certain words that I kind of correlate with each other. The music that's being produced also kind of correlates. So power, danger, emergency. Ooh. That was cool. It stopped for that last chuckle. Good intro. The kicks are a little too punchy, I think, for this intro, but it's okay. Let's bring it together. Here we go. Whoa. Very strange. I like that. Whew! Yeah. It keeps doing it. Ah! Whoa, whoa, whoa! That was a really unique song, a really unique drop. It caught me off guard as well. But yeah, I think the intro was good. Again, the kicks were a little punchy during that build up there. Just a little too, felt like drop kicks, not build up kicks. But when the drop comes in, it comes in with some weird, goofy stuff. And it does have a power to it. Again, dubstep is just a genre that naturally lends itself to be powerful, danger, anxiety-inducing stuff. So I think just naturally it does fit that. It's a very aggressive genre. It was a relatively aggressive song. I think it was slightly tamer compared to some of the other songs we've gotten, but still had that overall oomph to it, that overall punch to it that does feel powerful in nature. Next, we have Shadow by Quantum Path. Hi Chezzy Tunes, I'm Quantum Path. I am a Riddim producer, evangelical Christian, and sound designer from North Carolina. When I was conjuring inspiration for this tune, two things came to mind: Shadow Wizard Money Gang and Bloodtide by Muerte. I wanted something with a very trappy swag intro, but I also wanted something really deep, dark, experimental, and unexpected for the drop. Recently, I've been getting a lot of inspiration from old Invaders tunes. It didn't turn out quite how I wanted, but I still love the track. So what the heck? I guess you could say it was a shadow of my expectations. As for self-promo stuff, I have an EP coming out this summer, as well as a tape drop where I just release a bunch of old stuff I don't feel like putting on any other projects. Take care.
Warning, new music may damage your eardrums and hurt your soul.
We got some meminess for sure. There's that swaggy trap, baby. Okay, I like this part of the intro. Okay. Decent setup here. What's the payoff? It does have sort of a dark shadow, like it kind of feels shadowy in nature. It's weird. You can almost gaslight yourself while thinking about the song, like, oh yes, shadow. Oh yes, emergency. I like this drum. It's a little unintentionally gritty. It sounds like it's peaking, like it's getting a little crumbly, a little messy. I like the approach. It does have a goofy quality. I think that the meminess and the trappy vibes of the intro do lend itself into a kind of quirkier drop, but this does invoke Invaders music. I think you captured that style well, even if it's not my kind of style. I think it was still produced decently, but again, it got a little like crackly. And you could have done that intentionally. I don't know, but it sounds like it wasn't intentional. It sounds like it was a mixing issue, but overall, it gives that sort of dark tone. It gives that sort of like something is looming over you. Something is slowly covering you in darkness, as a shadow would. So I feel like you captured the word, but there was some production issues I had with the song itself. I want to quickly interject and say that if you want to help support me, the channel, and fund these challenges, I do have a Patreon, if that is something that interests you. This will give you uncut versions of all my reactions, including my reactions to all of these submissions, bonus content every single month, and maybe even some behind the scenes content regarding this challenge. The funds I get through the Patreon will help support me, as well as fund future challenges, because I do give out prizes to the winners of these things. So if you want to help support the artists and help me make these things bigger and better, consider supporting me on Patreon. I'd really appreciate it. And I think this is where I'll take a break. There's a lot of songs to get through. It takes some time to listen to them all and collect my thoughts. So I will return in just a moment with the rest of the music. Here we go. And we are back. I don't remember what I said when I ended the last clip, so hopefully that was just a super seamless transition. But let's get back into it. Next up is Ghost by NaitKore. Hi, I'm NaitKore. I love listening to and producing hard dance music, and I try to blend that passion with the old school NaitKore vibe. That's actually how my name came to be, kind of a mix of those two worlds. Greetings from Argentina. The word I got was ghost, and I felt that a mysterious word like that deserved something as intense and expressive as breakcore. It gave me the freedom to get creative, combining the classic amen break with distortion, textures, and vocals provided by my friend Chenma. Huge thanks to him. Hope you enjoy it. P.S. Try closing your eyes. It might feel even more emotional that way. PS2, you can find me as NaitKore on all my socials, and I also want to share that this challenge inspired me to start working on a breakcore EP that I'll be releasing later this year. That's awesome. Excuse me? I'm ready for some breakcore though. Okay, that's got some energy. Everything's got some grit to it. It is a little messy though. Everything's definitely getting muddled together. Some good samples, textures in here. Okay. I was gonna say I wasn't getting a lot of ghost vibes, but now we're sounding a little more melancholy, a little more mysterious, as you had mentioned. Because Ghost gives me like soft, flowy, dark kind of tones, sad vibes. And this is more fitting for sure. Okay. I'm enjoying this second half more than the first half. I think it's a little more on brand for the word. Oh, that's a high note though. Okay, switching up. Hey, it gets better as it goes on. I'm enjoying the song more and more the further we get into it. I think some of the ideas in it were pretty cool. I don't know if as a whole the song captures the essence of like Ghost in my mind. I think if it was more minimal, I think it's that everything's just a little too loud. Everything's clipping, everything's a little too punchy or crunchy. And at least in my head, Ghost feels a little softer. I don't think using some breakbeat and faster samples is an issue, but having them toned down, having it be a little more easy on the ears, I think would have complemented the song a bit more. But as a song, I think a lot of the ideas were cool. I liked how much variation there was, but I think the most ghostly part of it was the middle section between the drops. And also at the beginning and end, there's this sort of airy, flowy pad that I feel like gives me some Ghost vibes. So I see the vision. I don't think the overall structure of it, but I think everything was just turned up a little too high. It was a little too aggressive. If things would have just been toned down a bit, a little more subtle, I think we would have been a little more on brand overall. Next, we have Game by TheRealMadMan. Hey yo, I'm Brian, also known as TheRealMadMan. I'm a multi-genre producer who likes to make a little bit of everything. For the challenge, the word I got was game, and obviously the first thing that came to mind was video game music, which was a huge inspiration of mine when starting out with music. So what I've done with the song is I tried incorporating a few styles that I enjoy a lot from video game music. Of course, had to take inspiration from Tokyo Machine. This is also one of the very few tracks where I actually had the whole melody and structure of the track in my head for a while. I'm honestly convinced I might have copied a melody from some old gamer song I heard before because of how much I like it, but I will assume it's original. Unfortunately, due to my timing being a bit limited, I basically made it half-baked, but I hope y'all will still enjoy the intro and single drop. In terms of promotion, I guess y'all could check out my first ever sample pack, Voltage Volume 1, based on the sound of Space Laces, and contains over 600 samples for only $15 on my Gumroad page. Definitely give me the game vibes. Love a good old classic chiptune beat. And I'm not an expert on all classic retro video game soundtracks, so I couldn't tell you if this is inspired by something specific or not. Okay. Cool mixture of the chiptune sound and the more natural synths. Ooh, and some guitar too. This is really well made. I think I'm gonna be upset that we're only gonna get one drop from this. But I'll enjoy what we've got. Let's go. Give me a little taste of the melody. Bring it back. Yeah. Hey, there you go. It's a good melody. I don't know if it is something lurking in the back of your head from a previous game you played or if it's original, but either way. I think the first piece of the drop felt like it could have used one or two extra layers. It felt slightly empty during pieces of it, only slightly. Just a little extra, just one little layer probably would have made the difference. But overall, it had a lot of style. It definitely feels gamey. I think capturing a video game essence can be pretty easy, but to do it in an engaging way, to sort of elevate it, takes a little more skill. And I think you nailed it. Again, I like the balance of the actual retro sound with the more modern synth sound. You've got some guitars in there, and you've got a melody that I find pretty catchy. I think overall it's a solid package, especially for being half-baked, as you said. But what you managed to put out is pretty satisfying in my book. Next, we have Mystery by Ganimed. Looks like he has named the track Wanderer. I like that. Interested to see what the reigning champion has in store for us as the winner of the first competition. Can you Maintain your title. Oh. Cool. I like the way the percussion is being used here, the way it sounds. I'm just trying to put myself in the most mysterious situation I can. Oh. Cool way to bring that in. I love just the dynamics of it all, the slow moments, and then it hits, and it comes, it punches and then reserves itself and then hits you and then it teases, plays with you a little bit. It feels very forward moving. I'm moving forward, I'm going on a journey here. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Oh. This is really good. And the percussion is intricate and great. Great. Wow. That was very good. And mystery is a pretty open-ended word, but mysterious vibes can be imbued within sound. And I think the nature of a lot of the synths and the pads especially give you this curiosity. It piques your curiosity. It feels like exploring a new location, like some forgotten ruins, trying to uncover the secrets of this ancient temple, an underground cavern that has just been discovered by man. That's the sort of tone it gives me. That's the place it puts me in, which does sound like a mystery. That does sound like a mystery to me. So yeah, I think front to back, you nailed it. Next, we have Vacation by waferboi.
Yo, what's good? This is waferboi. This is my submission for the CHUNE Challenge. My word was vacation. And in a server full of people who I'm assuming are really good EDM producers and are going to do a lot of really good EDM and dubstep and all that, I figured that for my word, it would be perfect for me to go back to my roots. I was born and raised in Hawaii, and I figured what better thing to do for the word vacation than to do a Hawaiian song. So I went and wrote and produced a full-on Hawaiian reggae island song, just to challenge myself, see if I could do it. And I thought it turned out pretty well, and it was good for this word, for this challenge. Yippee!
What was that last bit? Yippee! I think I nailed that, actually. Is that just your sign off for everything you do? But I'm really excited. This is going to be very different from everything else we've gotten. Heck yeah. Let's go. This is great. Ooh. Is that your voice? That's so good. Wow.
I wanna drink on the beach and watch the waves, let the undertow wash me away.
I gotta smile, man. Ooh, and the little the harmonies. You nailed this. This is so good. And I'm not familiar with your normal music, so I don't know what you usually produce, but it's really cool that you could do this and that it's, you know, based in your own roots. That's so great. I would like genuinely put this on a vacation, or I'm like cruising down the beach, or, you know, you got the sunroof open, the windows down. I've never been to Hawaii, but, you know, now I gotta go. Oh! Hit that note. You understand song structure too. You got the verses, the chorus, the bridge, the slightly elevated final chorus and everything. Like this sounds like a legitimate song. Definitely one of the most accurate representations of the word for me, because I've never been to Hawaii, but just style, the like bongos, anything like that just gives me vacation vibes, give me tropical energy. And usually when I think vacation, it's going somewhere different than what I'm used to. to. And like I said, I don't live in a tropical area. I don't live by a beach or anything. So something with some waves, some palm trees, a light breeze, all that stuff is what gives me vacation energy, what gives me that escape that a vacation should be. And so obviously this type of music perfectly captures that feeling. I thought it was very well produced, and I'm assuming that's your voice and you sang and you made the lyrics and you produced it. Like, it's tight, it's clean, it's beautiful, it's really well done. And I had a smile on my face the entire time. That was really, really great. Thank you for going out of your comfort zone and doing something a little more unique for yourself. I think it turned out perfectly. And now we need the whole album. Give us the whole album. Next is Dream by Wrong Warp. And all he had to say was, I can't breathe when you're not there. And that's all you really need to know.
This FL Studio type beat has been brought to you by Jesse Tunes Incorporated.
Hell yeah. Everyone's got to use that sample now. I'm trying to think if this is what it sounds like while I'm asleep. I don't remember my dreams very often, so I'll just imagine that this is what all of them sound like. Okay, I see the approach here. Ooh, I like the morphing of the pad in the background. It's got a whimsical nature to it. This fits. I don't have a lot to comment on because of the more subtle nature of it. It is sort of just putting me in a dreamlike state. I was just kind of zoning out there. I think I disassociated temporarily. Yeah, that last bit was probably more accurate to what my dreams sound like. Or maybe that's why I wake up and don't remember them, because I'm just stirred from my sleep. Okay. I think this is also very accurate to how I would think a dream would sound. It's got a lot of pads, a lot of slower, methodical pieces. It's more calm in nature, but it has the quicker paced drums to sort of carry you through it. It's that sort of atmospheric D&B style that it's peaceful, but there's movement, there's character, there's something still brewing in the noggin, there's thoughts that are occurring. Made me feel a little dreamy, and the person that produced it's probably pretty dreamy too. Maybe, if I were to take a guess. Next up is Fancy by The Extra Tapes. Hey everyone, I make epic electronic music and 3D animations. My word was fancy, so I wanted to recreate those really cool violin leads and modern disco music like Dance the Night, and just that overall feel like in Daft Punk's music that just feels so fancy. You can find my music at The Extra Tapes on YouTube, or you can also find me on my main channel at The Helmer Tapes, where I make 3D animations. Cool. Wow, it's cool. That's fancy. You found me saying fancy in a video? What did I say? What was I talking about? Hold on, I gotta go back. What song was I listening to? Wow, it's cool. That's fancy. I don't even know what I was listening to there. Where'd you find that? I am feeling slightly more fancy than I was a couple seconds ago, though. I do feel like disco energy. You can't be dancing to some disco music and not feel a little fancy, especially the outfits that they wore when listening to disco back then. It's a little fancy. Okay, I gotta remove the fact that I'm being sampled for the song. That's a good bass line. Add some more elements though. There you go. It's a little fancy. It's so good. I don't like this. I don't like the panning of spelling out fancy. We keep on adding another block. It's a fun song. I like the variation. We keep changing things up, the little cool drum fills and just those disco-y elements. I really like disco music. I think it's got a great energy to it. Oh, that's a note. I'm also a big Daft Punk fan, so seeing some semblance of them is great as well.
Changes it a bit though. Tweak some stuff, make this second drop a little bit different.
You want different? Okay, here's different. JK.
I like it for the memes. Obviously, the actual transition is rough, but I'll still give it to you. It's funny. All right, it's gonna be hard to be objective about that one. One of my best friends made this song of me called Ooh Baby, because I used to stream on an old channel and I would say, Ooh Baby. I would say that a lot in various different ways. It was what would happen if somebody followed me, for instance, and he turned it into a song and sampled me a lot for that song. And it was also not really disco, but kind of just a similar tone overall. So it's becoming, this song is just very reminiscent of that. And I think at least the main part of me saying it's pretty fancy, whatever I say, it does actually fit the song really well. And it's got this cool rhythm, the way it's cut up. It works so well, just even in spite of it being me. That just elevates it even further. So I'm trying really hard to be objective. But thank you for incorporating me and doing a little fake techno drop. We love that. I'd say my complaints are, again, the panning and spelling out of fancy, not the idea of it, but the execution. I don't like the vocal that is being used. It's too robotic. I think it would be better if it was a little more glidey, a little more whispery in nature like the rest of the song is. And also, obviously the song builds and builds. It keeps adding elements as it goes, but there are parts of it for that reason that feel a little too stripped down, a little too empty. There's a little like, okay, we have your kick and then we have this other thing and then we have, like, it's very easy to define all the pieces. And sometimes there's moments where they don't feel like one collective whole unit. But overall, it's got that disco energy. It's got that fun quality to it. And like I said, I think just, out on the dance floor wearing like some sparkly attire, hitting the disco ball, that's pretty fancy. So I think he did a great job. And my own voice happened to elevate a song. And there's probably not going to be many times in my life where I get to say that. So thank you for showing me it's possible. Next, we have Oasis by Riddim Lunchbox. Okay. Just saying the word in the song doesn't immediately check the box, though. An interesting approach, though. I assume we're gonna get Riddim. Okay. This kind of synth has a slight deserty quality to it. I like the rhythm of it. I don't want this to repeat for the whole song, though. Cool variation here. Strip it out for the second half. Do something different with the Oasis sample. Second drop. I like how much we are innovating on the rhythm of it, the flow of it, despite most of the sounds remaining the same throughout. So to look at this objectively, I think if we removed the sample that is spelling out Oasis, it would definitely fit the word a lot less. I do think some of the synths, the main synth has a quality that I could characterize as sort of deserty in nature. Like, it makes me somewhat think of being in, like, stranded in a desert and finding an oasis. I don't know. There's elements there that kind of fit the tone, but I was expecting maybe some other samples or sounds that give me that sort of vibe. So I don't want the song to have to stand so heavily upon the sample of spelling out the word. But for the song itself, I do think it kept on providing some variety despite using, the repetitious sounds that are found in most Riddim songs. I think you changed the flow of it or messed with the way it was coming into my ears enough that I found myself still engaged throughout. But I think there could have been some additional elements to really elevate it in terms of feeling like an oasis specifically. Next, we have Invasion by Aurore. Or is it Aurore? Aurore? I don't know. It's a more wild sound design. And it does feel kind of weird, otherworldly. Something has arrived that should not be here. Ooh, that was cool. is 35 seconds. So technically you're a little short on the minimum requirement, but I do still think it fit the word. I think the uniqueness of the sound design that I've heard from you really stands out. And again, it feels like it doesn't belong here. It's invading my space with something that is foreign. It feels foreign. If I'm criticizing the song itself, I think the drums feel too present compared to the main sounds. I think those need to be brought up a bit or brought more presence so everything sounds cohesive. So I think just more of a mixing problem or like a volume issue. But again, you're making sounds, same with the Skrillex remix you did. You're making sounds that I don't normally hear. I think you're really creative and I definitely want to continue listening to your music. I need to check out like your actual music outside of these challenges. Make it just slightly longer next time because technically I can't completely qualify you. Next up is Levitate by BASSTERIX. Hi, I go by BASSTERIX, I'm from Germany, and I've been making music since August 2023. I originally wanted to make techno and hard dance, but fell in love with D&B around the end of that year and have been almost exclusively making it ever since. When I got the word levitate, my first thought was to make a halftime tune, and that's what it ended up being. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to expand on the idea as I struggled with a creative block ever since writing the beginning and half of the first drop. So what I'm submitting here is unfortunately unfinished at this point, but I still hope it's somewhat enjoyable to listen to and captures the spirit of the word. You can check my SoundCloud at BASSTERIX if you want to keep up with my music. Okay, I like the use of the panning. It's swirling around my head. It's kind of ominous. I like the opening.
Will make you levitate.
Cool. Okay. I see the intent.
Levitate.
It's airy, it's bouncy.
This shit will make you levitate.
Definitely wish you could have expanded upon it. I know maybe with a style like that, it is hard to come up with ideas to continue to expand upon it, but I do think it captured the essence of the word. Levitate feels light, kind of bouncy, kind of airy, and I feel like that's what you captured with this song. I think the intro brings you in quite well. The vocal before the drop and during the drop is okay. It feels a little alien in nature, but I think it works well enough. It serves its purpose. I think if it was physically possible for me to levitate, I probably would have gotten a couple inches off the ground during that song. And finally, we have Error by Kounter. Hello, my name is Kounter and I made this silly drop. Feel free to look up any of my socials if you like this style. Much love and stay chezzy. Good percussion samples here. Yeah, it gives me that monster movie tone. The big kaiju's about to come. Hey. Oh, I like that. Very forward and that makes it very present. Clean, cool sound design, very unique sound design. Another one I wish was a little longer. I'd say some of the best compliments I can give a lot of these tracks is that I wish there was more of those tracks. I think there are certain pieces that sound like an error, I suppose. It's got some weird stutter to it. It's got just the sound design in general has an unnatural feel to it. When I think of error, it makes me think more digitally noises, but that could also just be my own thought process. I don't think that's a sentiment that's ubiquitous or anything, but some very solid beginnings to a track. You need to expand that for one reason or another. Intro solid, brings me into this world. Something's coming, something's about to attack, and then it's got some creative sounds to bring it all home. The only error I see is that it was too short. And those are our submissions, all 24 of them. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to take these submissions, narrow it down to a top 10, send those off to my guest judge here, and then we are going to come together for a call, to discuss the finalists and determine a winner. Before we bring in our guest judge, though, a quick reminder that if you want to participate in future competitions, be sure to join the Discord, linked in the description. And if you want to help fund these competitions to make them bigger and better in the future, be sure to support me on Patreon. You'll help support me, support the channel, and the funds from the Patreon will directly go into making these bigger and better and handing out bigger prizes to the winners. Or if you want to help sponsor these competitions, get in contact with me, whether it's monetarily or maybe you have a sample pack or some other sort of prize that can be given to the winners, be sure to get in touch. I want to be able to further support all the artists that are putting in the time and effort to be a part of these things. You guys have the real talent. I'm just here to help showcase it. And we are back and ready to judge. So I have the top 10 songs here, but there's just too many good things to determine this all on my own. So we have brought in a guest judge, live and in the flesh. Well, over Discord, we've got the man himself, Mr. Bowtied Media. Dakota is here with us today. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, YouTube. This is Dakota from Bowtied Media, and it is an absolute pleasure to be here on the channel for the first time. It's first time in video, I should say. I was a guest judge earlier, but my goodness, I'm excited for this. I love this competition. I thought this was a brilliant idea. I'd love to hear these submissions, and I'm ready to get rolling.
Kind of last minute, how we determined we're going to do this is the two criteria for this competition were how well the song captures the word, how well it represents the word in our eyes and our ears, and then also just overall enjoyment / production value, the quality of the song. So we have both gone through and rated each of these songs on those two criteria, and hopefully that will help us determine a winner based on who scores the highest in those categories, which means we're starting with Dream by Wrong Warp. Most of my opinions have come out in the video already, so we're mostly here to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Dream?
Dream was a good first one for me to get into this, I think. I really like the percussion work a lot on this one, and it did feel very, indeed, dreamlike. It's one of those ones where, honestly, to me, a little bit, it's like, the prompt is like so perfect that it's almost too good. Like, you gotta do a lot with it to some extent, because there's some harder ones, there's a little more abstract ones out there, but Dream is like a pretty, like, yeah, I got a feeling for what Dream is, or dream-like, and so, I didn't mind the song. I'm a big garage kind of breaks fan, so it had a bit of that up my alley. But I mean, the ending was a little wild, I will say. I guess it's you're waking up at the end in some capacity,
something like
that from the dream. But that did scare me a little bit. But overall, I thought that was a great first track into things. To the theme, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Okay. Just because I think it did very well with staying in the dream theme, and I felt it, and I felt the etherealness of it all. But I think they could have done a little bit more with a fairly easy. I got to give some credit to the other people that had a little bit harder prompts, so I would give it a solid good on that, essentially.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I gave it a 7, so a little higher, but same sort of reasoning of it did dream, but it didn't really step outside the box. And then overall enjoyment or production quality, what would you give that?
Yeah, this was the only half I gave on a thing. I'm not a huge half-y fan, but I gave it a 6.5. Again, I thought it was great. I love the percussion work. I'm a huge garage fan, so maybe it's because I listened to too much garage that this felt like it was right in my wheelhouse, and a lot of like other stuff I've heard before, but a song that I like solidly enjoyed, and I could see myself listening to more often, maybe without the intro or without the outro.
Fair enough. And in a similar vein, I went 7.5, so I'm again one step up. All right, next up is Emergency by Lugaesch, is how I believe it is pronounced.
Yeah, this one is definitely one where the production was not up my typical wheelhouse. This kind of really aggressive dubstep, almost tear out, was not so much my, not my forte, not my regular go-to. So I got to take a little grain of salt for that. I definitely did feel the panic in the Emergency because it was very aggressive and in your face. But I do think it could have used a bit more of the Emergency theme. It started with it and it had a good like a bit of the subtle klaxon and whatever at the start. But I felt like it kind of lost the vision a little bit going throughout the song.
And I agree. I think it kind of front loaded the Emergency vibe and then just kind of relied on the genre itself to carry it, which can only do so much heavy lifting. So weaker in terms of overall word usage, I'd say. What was your score for that?
The word usage, I gave it a 5 out of 10. Again, I think, like you said, it was front loaded. And for a song score, I gave it a 6. And so one that I recognize, again, not typically up my wheelhouse, but one I think I could find some enjoyment from. So
I went 6 for the theme. So again, continuing to increase by 1 point here. And I went 6.5 for the enjoyment. All right, next is Fancy by the Extra Tapes. What are your thoughts on Fancy?
I really like the addition of the strings here. Even though they weren't overly complex, they really did kind of help sell that kind of fancy theme quite well. I would say, though, overall, I thought the mixing was a little flat, and the drops had some like conflicting sounds to them. And so I just wasn't overly pleased with those main movements. This one, though, I think for sure was one of the harder prompts. And so I think they did a great job with the theme of fancy, with the word usage of fancy. And so I got to give them definitely some credit for that more so than anything. I love that they used your voice as one of the samples too. I thought that was great. A little fun, playful kind of production there. But as a word association score, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it did a great job with what it was given. But I think as the individual song itself, I gave it a 4. I just think the production was lacking a little bit in some areas that... yeah.
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to differ here. I gave it a 7 for the use of the word. And again, my bias coming out here, I gave it an 8 in terms of my enjoyment because I'm also a sucker for the kind of disco-y vibe. It was clicking with me. I just had a fun time with it. I like silliness, you know.
Oh, yes. I know you like silliness. So.
What gave it away? All right. Next up is Game by TheRealMadMan.
This song was pretty solid. This was a pretty, I would say, like a right down the middle, like kind of as almost expected kind of track for this one. The melody I thought was interesting because it's both unique and also does sound like stuff I've heard before. It's probably one of those things where they were inspired by something but don't really exactly remember what it is. And so in that sense, I actually really did like that I was like somewhat familiar with the melody, but also it was new, at least new to me. But yes, definitely very much inspired by the like Tokyo Machine 8-bit kind of electro house fusion. So yeah, this one was like a pretty straight shot for me. My word score, I gave them a 7 out of 10. Again, yeah, I think they did great. It was just right down the middle. They did as expected. And for song score, though, I did give it a 5. I think I've been listening to a lot of the Champo stuff in the last couple of years, and so I personally maybe a little more tired of this specific subgenre.
I went 8 for both. I enjoyed the song. I think it was produced well, and I mean, it sounds like a game to me. I'd say it gave me that vibe. So we just went double 8s. Next is Marshmellow by Azure Spark. What are your thoughts on Marshmellow? The song,
yeah, this one was
the artist.
Yeah. That's true. This one was funny because when I saw the prompt of Marshmellow, I was like, oh, are they going to go for like a Marshmellow style song, or if they're going to go for something that's like light and fluffy? And I think they actually did both actually really well. Personally, I think this is almost so good of like a Marshmellow ripoff almost. Like it sounds so similar to what Marshmellow does produce that I was genuinely impressed. I like that the drops had their own like different style. Like one was a more like trap heavy Marshmellow, one was a more future bass heavy Marshmellow. And both kind of just had that light fluffy feel to them. So this one actually was my favorite, I would say, theme association of all of them.
Okay, I enjoyed it as well, even if it is a little silly because it is like a parody almost, or an homage.
For scores, I ended up giving the theme word association a 9. I thought it was great. I thought it was perfectly hit the nail on the head of what it was trying to go for in the Marshmellow theme. And song-wise, I gave it a 6, just because I also just think about original Marshmellow sound like that, also like that kind of general score area. So this is one where I was transported back to an earlier era and went, oh yes, this is Marshmellow for sure. So I was impressed overall though.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 for being on the theme because I agree it executed it well, and I gave it a 7 for enjoyment because although it pretty much captured it flawlessly, I can't say I would give a Marshmellow song a 10 out of 10. So, I could only give it so many points. Next is Mystery by Ganimed.
Yes, I really love the constant like in and outs, the pulling and pushing of the percussion work to really sell that mystery theme. I think it sold it quite well without having to do anything super explicit with, I don't know, like a horror theme type like Alfred Hitchcock sounds. And so I think this is another one that sold the theme, I would say, very, very well. The song was unique and well produced and had some great movements, and I thought the transitions between them were pretty solid in their own right. For theme, I also gave this one a 9. I thought the theme theme was, again, as pretty abstract as mystery can be. I think they did a fantastic job with the theme. And as an individual song, I thought it was also great. I love the kind of production here, the more like subtle breaks production to it. And so I gave that a 7 for song score.
Okay. I gave it an 8.5 in terms of the theme. And then I also gave it an 8.5 in terms of my overall enjoyment. I just found it to be very unique, and it had a lot of character to it. It kept evolving. It was just very fun to listen to. It was a very good song. I think it's one of the few on here that like, I would just put this on. I would just listen to this song. Next is Power by Gwap Music.
Yeah, this one, I would say I wasn't fully sold on. The intense production does definitely sell that sense of power, but particularly in that first drop, the really sporadic and off-kiltered beat was just a bit too much for me, and I wasn't really feeling that. It felt a little jaded and not really giving me the sense of power I think that maybe I had thought the song was going to a little bit. And like I mentioned, I'm not the hugest, really big, heavy dubstep fan, so that also, not great in my eyes, so sadly.
That's fair. Even though I do lean more towards enjoying that than you probably do overall, I admired some of the sound design. I thought it was pretty unique, but yeah, in terms of execution, I don't think it's completely stuck the landing, and power can be a somewhat generic word, but I don't know. I feel like still more could have been done other than just like loud noises or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I gave this in theme score and word association, I gave it a 5. And then for the song score itself, I was sadly the lowest at a 3 for me.
I also gave it a 5 for the being on the theme, and I gave it a 6 for enjoyment. I still had a good time with it. Next, we have Rainforest by Eskvy.
Yeah, this was a fun one. The sound design I thought was pretty top notch in terms of all the kind of layered ambiance to again sell that rainforest vibe. This is one where it's a pretty again linear kind of direction of where you'd go thematically. I would say with the rainforest, but with what they had, they did kind of nailed exactly what I would have expected to hear from a rainforest vibe. That being said, I think they kind of pulled back a little bit. I think it was a little bit maybe more subtle with the rainforest vibe, and with a particular genre, I do love the color-based, future-based kind of style, but it doesn't give me super rainforesty vibes in terms of the song, I guess, genre itself, other than the ambiance in the back and in the first bit. So, yeah, decent track, decent prompt usage. But individually as a song itself, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, for that one, I gave 6s across the board. So I gave it a 6 for the theme, and I gave it a 6 for the song itself.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it as a song, but I think when I heard it, I also agreed that it could have gone heavier on the theme. I don't know if the color base necessarily captures the rainforest energy overall. I mean, it's kind of liquidy. It sounds like rain, I suppose, but it doesn't give me that like nature component. It just gives me like a wet day, a rainy day. I gave 7.5 for the theme, and I gave it an 8 for my overall enjoyment of the song. Okay. All right, second to last track here, we got Regret by ALCH.
This was definitely a tougher one thematically. I think for sure Regret is doesn't really have I think a sound association with it necessarily. That being said, as someone that used to love, I still love No Regrets, the song by I think Direct and Open Water, I think it is, an old Monster Cat song from years and years ago. This kind of hit that vibe, and right again, like I think it did a great job. I enjoyed the simple guitar work and the subtle voices in the back. It's got a bit of a cloudy sky vibe to it as well too, and a cloudy sky often narratively plays around these ideas of regret and just self-worth and emotions and all this kind of stuff without being too on the nose with it. So yeah, I thought this was a very hard prompt, but I think they executed quite well. This was one I was really impressed with. I gave it an 8 across the board. I think I gave it an 8 for theme, just because I think Regret is a hard one to do sonically, and I think they crush it. And I thought the song was, again, as someone that really, really loves a cloudy sky, I got a lot of those vibes from it, so I also gave it an 8 for a song.
All right. I went just slightly higher, actually. I went 8.5 for the theme, and I went 9 for my overall enjoyment. I was really impressed. And finally, we have Vacation by waferboi.
Yes, this was a really fun one, especially for me to listen to last in this order, because I was definitely expecting an EDM vacation something, and then Homie comes in with this very Hawaiian reggae style song, and I really enjoyed it. I know it's not EDM, but I also listen to stuff that's not EDM, and so this was something that I found myself just really enjoying naturally. I thought it nailed the like kind of island paradise theme. I love that they took a totally different approach to this track that wasn't so EDM focused. Don't know if that was in the rules or not, but and I have to give major props for the original writing and vocals on this as well. So yeah, this one very much impressed me and was a great, not palate cleansers, maybe not the right word, but just a totally different direction. There's like the other 9 songs, and then the one is just way over here with a totally different style. But I think they did it just as well. I gave this a 9 for theme, and I gave this a 7 for song score. I maybe would have put it higher if I listened to more of this style of music, but it's another one for me that I'm just like, I don't love it as an individual style, not something I would choose to put on, but I still thought it was a great song in its own right.
I also gave it a 9 for the theme. I think it crushed it in the theme department, and my overall enjoyment was an 8. I think it could have gone one way or another. Either we were going to completely dislike it because it's not EDM, or it was going to be a breath of fresh air and really enjoy it, and thankfully it landed. So tallying up the final scores here, it looks like our top 3 in no particular order are Mystery by Ganimed, Regret by ALCH, and Vacation by waferboi. So I averaged up the theme, I averaged up the enjoyment, and then I did a total average here. So technically our highest ranking for the being on theme is Vacation. Actually, that is our highest rating. There is Vacation.
That makes sense.
For our overall enjoyment, the highest is Regret by ALCH. But overall by just a smidge, the winner of the competition is Regret by ALCH.
Hey, that's awesome.
Wow. Okay. I was not expecting that. I'm so glad that you also enjoyed the same songs as me.
Yeah, that was crazy actually. When I mentioned earlier that I was like, I'm so curious to hear the difference in our opinions and scores, but I guess we really got to chat more. We got to do some more collabs because we're really on the same wavelength all around.
That's right. I mean, I'm always around, always happy to help, or vice versa. I'll have more competitions for you to judge. Don't you worry.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to be a part of them.
All right. Well, anything you want to, not that anyone here probably doesn't know who you are, but if you want to, shout yourself out, do any of that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm Dakota from Bowtied, and I love making videos just as much as the Ches does here. And so I try to do some games and some fun competitions on my channel too. I like to bring on people that don't know anything about EDM and play EDM for them, and that works well. And I also like to review a lot of stuff. And so, come check out my weekly recaps, my weekly reviews. Those are kind of my bread and butter. And come flame me for how badly I rate songs.
That's my favorite part about doing this, is hearing everyone's opinions of how you're just wrong. You're wrong. How could you not love that? Or how could you hate that?
100%.
But we know what's right. Our opinions are the only ones that matter. They are factual, and everyone else is wrong. That's why we're here and you're not. So
100%. Exactly. We have a camera and they don't. So
exactly, and the same camera, I believe. So
yeah, we do. We do have the same camera. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for assisting. I would not have been able to do this on my own. I appreciate your time and your ears and your words of wisdom.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on. This was so fun, and I'm excited to be a part of future things maybe. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Take care. And we'll probably see you back for the next one. So congratulations to ALCH. Not only did you perfectly capture your word, but you also made a highly enjoyable and well-made song. You absolutely knocked it out of the park, and this is a song I would genuinely put on and listen to. So I'll be in contact with you soon to give you your prize, and hopefully I'll see you in the next competition as well. I'll be putting all the songs featured in this video in their entirety out in a YouTube video for you to listen to. It'll just be one long mix of all the songs back to back in alphabetical order. You can also see my full and uncut reactions to all of these songs over on the Patreon, as well as some bonus behind behind the scenes and additional cut content that didn't make it into the final video. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters. I really do appreciate you. Supporting me on Patreon helps support not only the channel, but it also supports all of the artists featured. It allows me to make bigger and better competitions and also fund the prizes that will be given to the winners. So if you want to help support me, as well as all the hardworking artists making great music for you to listen to, consider supporting me on Patreon. I'd really appreciate it. But that concludes another CHUNE challenge. One more final thank you to Dakota over at Bowtied Media. I really do appreciate your contribution to this video. Be sure to check him out if you haven't already. Go subscribe to him, go follow him on the social medias, all that good stuff. His information will be down below in the description. One last time, if you are an artist and are interested in joining in on future competitions, be sure to join the Discord. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. And keep on jamming out, my dudes. Peace!